Good evening. Welcome to the Nassau County Board of County Commissioners meeting for 5 p.m. on December 9th, 2024. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the invocation and the pledge. The invocation will be given by Mr. Irving Gilliard.
All right, good evening, everyone. Oh, Heavenly Father, we honor you, we praise you, we give you all the honor and all the glory. And we're so thankful for how you have blessed us throughout this year as we come to the end of the year. We just thank you for all of your blessings to us. And we're also thankful for this Board of County Commissioners as they go through and make decisions for the residents of Nassau County. Continue to lead and guide them in the direction that you would have them to go. And we ask blessing for their support staff, our county attorney's office, county manager's office, and all that support them. Continue to look on this local county. Bless us and keep us, and as we continue going through the holiday season, we ask that you keep us safe from all hurt, harm, and danger. Continue to look on our first responders and our military as they protect this great country. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner McCullough.
Here.
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Farmer.
Here.
Commissioner Hutman.
Here.
And Chair Martin.
Here. County Attorney, do you have any expansions or deletions to the agenda?
I have none, thank you, Chair.
County Manager.
I have none, sir. Thank you.
Consent items. If any board member wishes to move a consent item to new business, please do so now. I would like to pull tab J from the consent agenda. County Attorney, would you please address that?
Yes, sir. I'm asking for the pull of this because we are still working with the property owner to get the proper signatures for that easement before you can sign it or accept it.
So that will go on a future board
We are
meeting.
looking to continue that item until December 18th, 2024.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Gray.
I'd like to make a motion to remove tab J from the agenda, please. Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Hupman, to pull tab J from the agenda, and it tentatively will be rescheduled for the December 18th, 2024 County Commission meeting. Any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Would any commissioner like to pull any other item from the consent agenda and move to new business? Does any member of the public want to speak on a consent item? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of tab J.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of tab J.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Farmer, seconded by Commissioner Hupman. Any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business. Any member of the public may address any item under new business at this time. Time limit is 3 minutes each. Is there anyone who wishes to address any item under new business? You can do so now or when that item comes before the board. All right, seeing none, we will move into tab N. Consider reduction of code enforcement lien, case number CE 22-7025, Marcus W. and Dina C. Holly, 1230 North Mulberry Landing Road, Hilliard, Florida, 32046. Ms. Jarambi.
Yes, good evening, everybody. So I am presenting this fine reduction request because it is a little unusual in nature. As stated by our chair, this is for 1230 North Mulberry Landing in Hilliard, Florida. This is a property that had a prior owner named Chancey Parmley, and it was actually sold after the lien was recorded to a Marcus W. and Dina C. Hawley, which under our current code, they would not be entitled to a fine reduction request. However, this item was moved forward to the special magistrate, who made that determination as well and did not make a recommendation. So that's why this is an unusual posture before you this evening. Just to go over the history of this case, in July of 2022, the Code Enforcement Board did find the property in violation for trash, litter, and debris, and a violation of the Florida Building Code. They did not have a permit, I believe, for a shed. They were given time to comply as required by Florida Statute 162, and were given to August 31st of 2022. And this was when the Chancey Parmley, the prior owner, owned the property. Otherwise, a $50 a day fine would be assessed. The prior owner did not comply. We do not see any action on this property till this year when the new owner, Marcus W. and Dina C. Hawley, did purchase the property. That is May 29th, 2024. And you will see that that new owner did comply the property pretty quickly by June 14th, 2024. When the new owner came in to the code and special magistrate and made his case at that proceeding, he indicated that there was $26,000 placed in escrow when he purchased the property. Just for the record, the total fine was $32,600. That is the fine amount. We also have our administrative costs of $405.10. As I said, under the current code criteria as recently adopted, the new owner is not entitled to a lien reduction. However, the magistrate, and therefore the magistrate did not make a recommendation, but did note the extraordinary efforts the property owner made to bring the property into compliance. And at this time, the staff would recommend a reduction to the amount of $26,000, which is what is currently in the escrow, and that would include our costs of $405.10. But this was a different type of case because there is no recommendation for our magistrate for the board to consider, so there's only staff recommendation. And I'm available for any questions if you have any, and I'm not sure if Mr. Hawley is here. Yes, okay. We do have the new owner. He is the new owner and is present to answer any questions as well.
Any questions from the Commissioner?
I do not have questions. I do have some comments.
Okay. Would, Mr. Holly, before we went into new business, I asked if anyone would like to make any comments, and you didn't indicate that you wanted to. However, I want to give you an opportunity to speak if you'd like to come to the podium and address the Commission.
Good afternoon, and thank you. Yes,
your name and
I'm
address
sorry,
for the record.
Marcus W. Holly, 17671 Holly Oaks Lane, Hilliard, Florida, 32046.
Thank you.
Everything that she stated and I see here is correct. I guess I want to go a little bit more into where I came up with the 62% reduction. This property has been an eyesore for the Mulberry Landing community for quite some time. It backs up to our property, my mother, which is 82, and it backs up to my property. We've had numerous issues with the property. I've hauled off over 6 tons of garbage and just numerous issues. So when I went into the lien reduction, I thought about the former owner as well. She went to leave a new job, which she has now lost, and in the time of season, quite honestly, they need the money. And then I also looked at Nassau County, the time they've spent to enforce this, the letters they've sent, and everything that was involved. So when I went into the process, I thought about how much it would cost Nassau County, and I thought I came up with a fair assessment to where it would be fair to the former owner, who is now unemployed, and fair to Nassau County, so that they would cover all the costs. The property will not have an issue again, since it's a what I like to call a Holly property, and we're going to fix it up, and it'll. I wish some of the people from Mulberry Landing were here, because I've had so many handshakes. Just so happy that we bought the property. My 82-year-old mother was nervous and scared at times, and now she's able to live out the rest of her life in peace, knowing that it's not going to happen again. Thank you for your time.
Commissioner Hubman.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. In reading the entirety of the application package, Mr. Holly, can you just restate the fine amount that you did ask for in that application? It was 13.
It was 62% of whatever that amount was. My wife was actually going to speak today because I have another meeting in Kingsland, and she actually has all that documentation. It was $13,000 and some change was the reduction.
Yeah, it was stated in there.
94 cents, thanks.
Any other questions?
No, I don't. Thank you
Any
very
other
much for
commi-
that.
I have a question or two, but I'll let any other commissioner go before me. If you're going to make a motion, though, I would like you to wait till I ask my questions.
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
So I was, when I got my packet, Mr. Holly, I did a little research with our counsel, our county attorney's office. The money that is in escrow at $26,000, that money go to the prior seller? If we did the $13,111.94, where would the balance of that $26,000 go?
During closing, I found out about the lien, so I said we can go ahead and close, but the money has to be held in escrow until this is done. So the county would be paid first, the remaining portion would go directly to the former owner.
So if we reduce this fine, other than what staff recommends, you would not receive the money. The money would go to the former owner that was the violator with the code enforcement, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
But is that, if,
Commissioner McCullough.
so if we reduce it down to 13,000, the difference that 12,900 would go to the previous owner out of that escrow
Correct.
Which was in violation.
the whole time?
And you asked the questions that I was going to ask. So
If it's an escrow.
I think it's commendable what you did. And I don't want to send the wrong message to folks like yourself that do the right thing, okay? But this one is a little bit different than, and I was on the code enforcement board for several years, and I've been here for 4 years. I've heard lots of people come to the podium, and I commend you, and I appreciate your effort and your honesty. But if we were to lower this fine, we are rewarding the nuisance neighbor who owned this home before you, according to what you just said. Because if we reduce the fine to 13,000 or whatever the balance is out of escrow goes to the person who didn't care about their neighbors and let it get into non-compliance. And we know that, I appreciate you being honest, but we already had an indication that that was where the money was going to go, because she kept calling our offices to find out when the money was going to be released to her. So that's where I have a problem with it. I think what you did was great, okay? And, but rewarding the previous owner for this is something I just, I can't, I don't think I can do that.
This
And
is
you're
a,
welcome to respond if you'd like to.
Given the fact, and I agree with what you say, it's hard to reward bad behavior. I have 3 kids. I have to deal with that daily. With that said, given the spirit of the season and with unemployment, and I have verified that is the case, I would beg you to consider something so they would at least get through the new year or until getting employed.
Well, in response to that, we are, if we just go down to what the escrow is, that's a 32 almost, plus the administrative fees, 33,000, right, and change, down to 26. So there's a $7,000 reduction right there. The issue is, the previous owner may be on hard times right now, and I'm sympathetic to that, but they completely ignored code enforcement and the board here in Nassau County while they continued to be nuisance neighbors and incurred that fine, which you yourself said was your mother or your grandmother had to live in the vicinity of this person the whole time. So rewarding that bad behavior is just something, I think we set a bad precedent if we do that. I really do. So, Commissioner McCullough, were you about to say something? Were you trying to get my attention?
Mr. Gray, go ahead.
No, I thought that you was going to speak.
Yeah, this is my district, this area. If you've been down Mulberry Landing, I don't know, maybe Mr. Firmer has or hasn't, it's just an area where it's hit and miss with cleanliness. We were so relieved when we found out you were buying the property, because I knew it would be cleaned up and it would never be an issue as soon as you bought it, Mr. Hawley. It's very hard for me. I understand where you're coming from, Marcus, and I respect you, and that's why I've asked you to do and serve, because you have a heart for our community. You have a heart for Nassau County. This is something you've wanted to do to reduce to the 26,000. no matter what, it's in the escrow. So what you're saying, Mr. Martin, is you would prefer that it stay the 32,000?
No.
Okay, the
I have
26,000?
not, I'm not making a motion
Oh,
anyways.
okay.
But I don't have, I will go on the record and say, I don't have a problem with it going to what is in escrow right now, which is 26,000, which is not, it may have been his money that he put in escrow, but he's already on the
Yes.
record said that whatever we reduce this to, if it's less than what's already in escrow, that is going to benefit the previous owner, who was the nuisance neighbor. I don't want to misquote you, but that's what I heard, that if we were to go to 13,000, okay, that you're still out 13,000, and
Previous owner.
previous owner is going to get almost 13,000 of the escrow. That's the agreement you've made with them.
I wouldn't be out. It is the difference between the payoff and the purchase price. So I required it to remain in escrow to cover myself.
Exactly, but my point is, you don't benefit, whatever we decide here, and if we go to anything 26,000 or less, you're not hurt,
Correct.
okay? If we kept it at 32, then you're hurt. You'd have to come up with $7,000 more.
Correct.
All right, I don't want you to have to come up with $7,000 more, so I would entertain a motion well, I'll entertain any motion, but I would recommend that motion be to not harm you, but also not to benefit the previous owner who was the reason you're here today. Commissioner Gray.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion, and based on that motion, I would like to lower the 32,000 total fine amount down for $32,600, and appreciate Mr. Holly for all you've done,
Down to 26.
down to 26,000, which is a staff recommendation, which includes the administrative costs. And that is my motion, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second that motion, Mr. Gray.
A motion from Commissioner Gray, seconded by Commissioner McCullough, to accept staff's recommendation of fine and administrative costs of a total of $26,000, which is approximately $7,000 reduction from where it is right now. Questions, comments, or discussion?
I'd just like to ask Mr. Holly, are you okay with that?
I am, I'm okay with whatever the commission finds.
Yeah, I mean, anything 26 or below is not going to come out of it's not going to hurt you, I guess is the right way to put it. I mean, I'm of the mindset that, I'm hard feelings, if there was hard feelings between Mr. Holly and this neighbor, I don't foresee him being a potential purchaser of this property. So it's obvious that you must have known a little bit of the backstory on why this has gotten to where it is, and probably know the people on a little more personal level than all the rest of us do. And, I'm of the mindset that, if this is a blue-collar family and they're really upside down to the point to where, they needed to make this sale to move forward and to find something somewhere in an adjacent county or somewhere. And I appreciate the fact that you cleaned up 6 tons of garbage in 15 days. But, for him to do all that and then come here and ask us for a 62% reduction, and then we go from, 13.1 to back to 26, I feel like that, I think personally that we should find some middle ground there and settle in somewhere around 15 or something. And that way it's not quite the 26 burden. That's just the way I feel about it.
Mr. Chairman.
Let me chime in on that first. If Mr. Holly was benefiting from that financially, then I'd be with you. I'd be with him on his original offer. But Mr. Holly is not benefiting financially from any reduction below $26,000. The $26,000 is in escrow. The person benefiting from this, I don't know what kind of hard times
Correct.
the previous owners, and I don't know, if we're going to make decisions based on people being in hard times, then it's kind of going to throw a wrench in the whole system. This here is unique situation where if Mr. Holly was sitting here and I felt like I was harming him, then I would agree with you. But that's not the case here. This is holding the previous owner accountable and not letting the previous owner benefit from Mr. Holly's extraordinary efforts here.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to reiterate to my fellow board members that we are reducing this $6,700 from 32,000 600 down to the 26,000. So we are doing that, and we're taking staff's recommendation. And, I know we've got a magistrate now, but we still need to set an example for Nassau County, because we still have these code enforcement cases out there. I watch it, it's like the second Tuesday of every month at 1 o'clock, and it's, I'm wanting them to follow the codes. Thank you, that's all I have to say.
I mean, I don't, and the purchase price couldn't have been much more than, the lien exceeds the value of the property, I mean, in a lot of aspects, because 6 tons of garbage, I mean, what does that cost? So, I mean, what does that cost to rent dumpsters and move stuff with equipment and, go out there and you clean it up in 15 days? I just feel like that, I don't feel like 26,000 is enough. And I'll vote no if you guys continue on with that motion. Thank you.
Any other comments, discussion? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to accept staff's recommendation of lowering the fine and the administrative costs from approximately $32,600 and change down to $26,000 to include, which will include fine and the administrative costs. That motion was made by Commissioner Gray, seconded by Commissioner McCullough. Commissioner McCullough.
Okay, I'm just double checking, Mr. Martin. Yes, I'm sticking with this. But if we reduce it from 26 to 15, I'm just making sure this is correct. If we go from 26 to 15, Mr. Hawley, you're not walking away from closing with an $11,000 check. The seller's walking away with that $11,000 check, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Hawley. Okay, I stick with my second. Yes, sir, Mr. Martin.
All right. So a motion and a second, a motion from Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner McCullough, what I just previously said. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Motion carries 3-2.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hawley. Thank you for cleaning it up. It looks great.
That takes us into tab O. Consider the City of Fernandina Beach municipal grant funding request for FY 2024-2025 for the construction of new batting cages at Central Park in the amount of $50,000. Assistant County Manager, Hiram?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the policies that this board established is our municipal grant policy that provides up to $50,000 for one of the municipalities, either Fernandina Beach, Callahan, or Hilliard, to help develop public improvements for the general public benefit. The City of Fernandina Beach last year applied for improvements to the Peck Center for a multi-use trail. This year, they are applying for $50,000 for the improvement of new batting cages in Central Park, and that will also be accompanied by funding provided through a nonprofit to help expand that as well. So with that, this is the request of the city, and we leave it for your discretion.
I'll entertain a motion on tab O.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner
I'd
Huffman.
like to make a motion to approve the 2024-2025 grant in the amount of $50,000 to the city of Fernandina Beach.
Second.
You get in there before you.
Yep, you got it.
I have a motion from Commissioner Huffman, seconded by Commissioner Farmer to approve tab O. Questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tab P, approve and authorize the chairman to sign contract number CM 3812, purchase and sale agreement with DJG 28 Chester LLC for purchase of property needed for Chester Road and Pages Dairy Road intersection improvements. County Manager.
Yes, sir. Deputy County Manager Companion's here, and he can answer your questions related to that project.
Evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. This is a purchase and sale agreement to acquire the last 20-foot of right-of-way that we require to complete the Pages Dairy Chester Road intersection improvement project. This purchase is from the Dudley are the property owners. Their representation, legal representation, was Mr. Joe Ort. The value that's going to the seller is from an appraisal. The value of the seller's attorney's fees that are listed there are statutorily required and estimated. So those are not a negotiated fee. That's what's required by the statute. And there is $5,000 worth of fees in there also for their consultant. So this is the amount based on the appraisal and the statutory fee requirements. And I'm here to answer any other questions you may
Any
have.
questions for Mr. Companion? I'll entertain a motion for tab P.
Mr. Chairman, I make a
Commissioner
motion
Gray.
to approve tab P.
Second?
I have a motion from Commissioner Gray, second from Commissioner Huffman to approve tab P. Questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Tab Q, consider and approve Resolution 2024-0180, rescinding and replacing Resolution 2022-210 as amended by Resolution 2024-092, providing for adoption of the operating policies and procedures of the Nassau County Board of County Commissioners, providing for organization, powers, duties, and responsibilities, providing for legislation and meeting procedures, and providing for the repeal of conflicting provisions. County Attorney.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Denise May, your county attorney, and I apologize for the mouthful. You will remember that back at the beginning of this year at your winter strategic planning session, we talked about your board policies and procedures, which you've had in place for many years, most recently adopted and amended in 2022. Earlier this year, we went ahead with a short amendment to move your meeting times up to 5 o'clock and to move the public comment periods to the end. We talked about making further expansion, I'd call it, on the Board of County Commissioners' operating policies and procedures to include things such as your legislative and meeting procedures. I often do get questioned by attorneys who come before you in some type of quasi-judicial or appellate proceeding on where you've adopted those. They are stated at every meeting, but now they will be fully adopted. In addition, there are quite a few other changes. It's broken down into 2 sections. Section 1 is organization, powers, duties, and responsibilities. And listed there, I won't read the whole screen for you, are several of the sections coming out of there. Highlighted there is what is new, is called a standards of conduct. Those standards of conduct I've discussed individually with each of you, and I see it is something this board is already doing in respecting the public, respecting each other, and keeping, while having your own individual First Amendment voice, respecting those around you and their opinions, and working together as a team, which you already do. This just codifies it for some future board and for all boards. It does not give an ability for one commissioner to punish another or to put somebody up. It simply is something that you reaffirm every 2 years at your organizational meeting to say, we affirm that we are going to be held to these standards of conduct. And I don't think anybody had any objections to those, but if there are any, please let me know. It does just go through commissioner travel, newly elected, your reorg meeting, and what the duties of each of those people are, including your county manager and your county attorney. Section 2 is a much more lengthier. That's because it includes those new legislative public hearing procedures, quasi-judicial public hearing procedures, and appeal hearing procedures. And so those will now be adopted within this resolution. It's pretty much what you have heard us say every meeting. I hope to make those scripts much shorter so that you're not just listening to your attorney go on and on. Your rules of decorum and public participation were set out specifically in this resolution. They were beefed up and very specific to the public. The comment cards, we continue to encourage that those be required. That is an education process, and we know that. So everything remains at the discretion of any chair or board member who wishes to allow that, but we would like to keep, this is again about your orderly meetings and efficient use of time. So I've given it all to you ahead of time so that if you had any questions or concerns, you weren't trying to look at a 31-page document tonight and come up with those, but I'm here to answer any questions that you may have on it.
Any questions for Ms. May?
No, sir.
Well, as Ms. May already knows, I read it. I'm sure my colleagues all read it. I was in Tampa a few days ago for the Florida Association of Counties, so it gave me something to do, was read the 20-plus pages of this. And I had a couple of questions, and she's already fixed some of the questions I had, and this is minor. I mean, it's been my understanding under Robert's Rules of Order that, for the chairman to make a motion, that the chairman or chairperson needs to relinquish the gavel, and then they can make a motion. Because there have been times where, you call for a motion and/or a second, and there's like an awkward silence. But, so when this does happen, and it may in the future, where the chairman can make a motion. Now, the chairman doesn't have to relinquish the gavel or step down from being chair. They can go ahead and make a motion. So not that this is a big deal, but if it does happen in the future and somebody scratches their head, well, they've never done it that way before, now that's one of our policies. We can do that.
It is. Robert's rules apply, of course, in the legislature and others. It cannot apply strictly to your board because it would violate certain sunshine and other public records laws. So it is only applying where it's not in conflict with your adopted procedures. In other jurisdictions I've been in, the chair has always had the ability. It is typical that someone else will, but you're right, especially when there's a bare quorum or when it's in that particular chair's district, will there sometimes be a hesitancy on the behalf of the other members, and this just keeps your meeting moving forward.
Anyone else have anything?
Good read.
I'll entertain a motion for tab Q.
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Commissioner Farmer, seconded by Commissioner Hupman to approve tab Q. Any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Legislative public hearing. The following matters under consideration are legislative matters, and the non-quasi judicial procedures will be utilized for the following. The county attorney will read the procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As stated, these are legislative and non-quasi-judicial hearings. This is for tabs R through U. These procedures are in place to give all who wish to speak for or against an item an opportunity to do so. Those wishing to speak in favor of or against the item being considered shall have 3 minutes to address the board. Speakers should not engage in personal attacks, and please begin by stating your name and address for the record. Please do not be repetitive or restate prior speakers' information. Sharing or transferring of time is not allowed. The clerk will control the time, again, 3 minutes. Any speaker that has documents will give them to the deputy clerk to become part of the permanent record. The meeting is being recorded, so please no talking. It does distort the recording. The board will then close the hearing and discuss the item under consideration and may ask questions of staff, and the board will then deliberate and vote on the item. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. All right, tab R, conduct a public hearing for the consideration of a resolution electing to use the uniform method of collecting non-ad valorem special assessments levied within the incorporated and unincorporated areas of the county, stating a need for such levy, providing for the mailing of this resolution, and providing for an effective date. Public hearing is now open for tab R. Staff presentation.
Mr. Chair, this is an annual resolution that is required for your many benefit units and taxing units for which you use non-ad valorem rolls in order to collect those. The board considers this as authorized in Chapter 197.3632 Florida statutes for the collection of those assessments, which include things such as beach renourishment, erosion control, road construction, resurfacing, park improvements, beautification and maintenance of rights-of-way, and subdivision construction, solid waste, fire rescue, mosquito control, and recreation services. All of these are a matter of public hearing to ensure that the public knows that those assessments will be coming on their tax bills.
Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor or against tab R? If so, please come to the podium. You have a 3-minute time. Excuse me. Seeing none. Any board questions for the county attorney or staff? Public hearing for tab R is now closed. Board discussion or action by motion?
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hutman.
Public hearing for consideration of resolution electing to use the uniform method of collecting non-ad valorem special assessments. Based on the review of applicable testimony and evidence provided, my motion is to approve the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Hupman, second by Commissioner Farmer to approve tab R. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me. Tab S, consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 30, taxation at Article 2, Municipal Service Taxing District, in order to rename the Municipal Service Taxing District to the Nassau County Services Municipal Service Taxing District Unit. In further amending all references to reflect this new name and providing clarification as to what services are to be provided thereunder. Further amending Chapter 30 taxation to create a new Article 5 entitled Municipal Service Benefit Units, providing for assessments, the creation of assessment areas, the collection of assessments for the establishment of municipal services benefit units as more fully set forth in the attached Exhibit A. Public hearing for tab S is now open. Staff presentation.
Yes, good evening again.
Granby.
Yes, Abigail Jormy on behalf of the County Attorney's Office. So this is our second part of our municipal service taxing units and municipal service benefit units cleanup. We had our previous hearing, and I'm just going to walk you through. Just as a reminder, we did discuss previously the established county units. We have active units and inactive units. The prior Board of County Commissioner meeting, we handled a lot of the inactive units. We dissolved them, and we cleaned up our code. So this is our next step as far as updating our code. One thing I had mentioned, and just kind of going over our step one, we are all done with that, the different ordinances and resolutions that were adopted. But we're actually at step 2 now, and that is to really update our county code. And I had mentioned previously that we had adopted some provisions of how to go forward with adopting MSBUs, and we had used that previously, but we'd never codified it. So this was our opportunity, now that we cleaned up the code at the last commission hearing, now we can do some cleanup and actually put into the code what we need to put into the code and just make some other cleanups. So this ordinance before you tonight, first thing, we'll rename and update provisions of our current Nassau County Services MSTU. This is located at Chapter 30, Taxation, in Sections 3021 through 30-31. So this is really just minor. You'll see in the beginning of that Exhibit A some minor cleanups and changes through that provisions. Then the next step is to ratify and affirm the Amelia Concourse MSBU. So this, once again, was something that we did previously in 2003. We actually adopted the MSBU. We never actually codified it. So if someone's looking for this out in the general public, they're not finding a reference, they would actually have to come to us and we'd be able to show them where it is because it was done by a resolution. When we adopt this ordinance tonight, now there'll be a clear reference to the Resolution 2003-109 in our Muni Code, in our Code of Ordinances for people to find. And then finally, as I mentioned, it will also codify the county's procedures for the establishment of MSBUs. This was done in 2000. We adopted this. We've had this ability, and we've used it, obviously, because we have the Amelia Concourse MSBU. We just never codified that into the Muni Code. So once again, right now, as it stands, if a general member of the public wanted to see this, they would have to come to us to be able to show them where this ordinance is. This will be a beautiful tie-up with a big red bow, put it all in our Code of Ordinances. So someone goes looking for our procedures for how to establish the MSBU, they'll be able to find it in Chapter 30. So that was really, that's our second step of the goal tonight, is to adopt this ordinance so we have everything in Muni Code and we can, have these clear parameters set forth. And really the updates that you have before you are just some cleanups. Once again, all of this we've done. We already have this in place. It's just some of it was not codified and some of it we just wanted to give you some updates. So after we adopt this ordinance, and this just kind of goes through what this ordinance does as well. I mean, it addresses the creation of assessment areas, the imposition of assessments via initial and annual assessment resolutions, and the collection of assessments. So this ordinance will just have this vehicle in place. And then ideally, if we pass this ordinance tonight, I will bring to you next week at our December 18th meeting our MSBU policies and procedures, which will be the actual how-to how would a member of the public come forward to you and request an MSBU? And that will be for next meeting. So it'll be next Wednesday. We'll go over those ideally if you do pass this ordinance tonight. But obviously, staff is asking that you do adopt this ordinance so we can do these final cleanups to our code, and then we can evaluate and look at our procedures next Wednesday.
Thank you, Mr. Embry. Is there anyone to speak in favor of or against tab S? If so, please come to the podium. Your time limit is 3 minutes. Seeing none. Any board questions for Mr. Embry? Public hearing for tab S is now closed. Board discussion or action by motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman.
Huffman.
I do have a comment first, if I may, to the county manager, county attorney. I'd like to get some one-on-one time with staff to review the Concourse MSBU and the South End MSBU as a point. Now that we've got everything in line, I'd like to do a thorough deep dive on my part to spend some time on those, so I appreciate that.
We can
yeah.
do that for sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, based on that, sir, I'd like to make a motion. Consideration of ordinance amending Chapter 30, Taxation, Article 2, Municipal Service Taxing District, in order to rename the Municipal Service Taxing District to the Nassau County Services Municipal Service Taxing District Unit. Further amending all references to reflect the new name and providing clarification to what services are to be provided thereunder. Further amending Chapter 30, Taxation, to create a new Article 5 entitled Municipal Service Benefit Units, providing for assessments, the creation of assessment areas, and the collection of assessments for the establishment of municipal services benefit units as a more fully set forth in the attached Exhibit A. Mr. Chairman, based on the review of applicable testimony and evidence provided, my motion is to approve the ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Huffman, seconded by Commissioner Farmer, to approve tab S. Any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tab T, consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 23.5 Recreation Areas, Article 1 in general, and Article 3 Recreation Parks, specifically adding Section 23.5-1, authorization of county manager to establish rules, and adding Section 23.5-2, definitions, adding Section 23.5-3, hours of operation, amending Section 23.5-4, prohibited activities, adding Section 23.5-5, special use areas, amending Section 23.5-83, rental rates for the use of county facilities and ballparks. The public hearing for tab T is now open. County Attorney.
Thank you. Good evening again, Denise May, County Attorney's Office. If you'll recall, again, back at our winter strategic planning session, there was direction to create or amend more comprehensive ordinances, in this case, which would address the hours of operations and the authority of the county manager in regards to parks and recreation areas. There had not been a comprehensive set of rules of what can and cannot be done, and as we continue to expand our park services and our recreational services, there needed to be some ability on the county manager's part to enforce certain rules and regulations. So what this ordinance does is to create those hours of operations, the authority of the county manager to create policies and procedures around the Parks and Rec, and provide for penalties and any corrective action as may be needed. It provides authority for the county manager to establish those rules and includes those hours of operation. Notably, in those hours of operations, you will see that boat launches and trails do remain open after midnight, but for the most part, all parks close at midnight. County parks includes all land owned, maintained, or operated by the Board of County Commissioners, which are designated as parks, trails, natural land, including your boat ramps and launches. Again, we're continuing to expand those activities. We have a lot of parks adjacent to boat ramps, but there is no concern that people cannot get out and boat at 4 a.m. in the morning. And that's what's before you, is prohibited activities, penalties therefore, and the authorizations to your county manager, and I stand ready to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. May. Any questions for Ms. May? Okay. there anyone that would like to speak in favor or against tab T? If so, please come to the podium. Your time limit is 3 minutes. Seeing none. Any board questions? I already asked that for Ms. May. There were none. Public hearing for tab T is now closed. Board discussion or action by motion?
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Farmer.
Based on the review of the applicable testimony and evidence provided, my motion is to approve the ordinance.
A motion from Commissioner Farmer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gray to approve tab T. Questions, comments, discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tab U, consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 19 and a quarter offenses, Article 1 in general, specifically adding Section 19 and a quarter -2, unauthorized public camping prohibited. Public hearing for tab U is now open. Staff presentation, Ms. May.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Again, about the time of our winter strategic planning session, the legislature was passing House Bill 1365, which was ultimately chaptered at 2024-11 and signed into law by Governor DeSantis on March 20th. It became effective October 1, and it created a new section, 125.0231 Florida statutes, which summed up basically prohibits any county or city from authorizing their term or otherwise allowing persons to regularly camp or sleep on public property. That was a legislative ask of us to exempt certain counties that didn't have homeless resources within the county. I did not get that in the last session. We were a little late to the game. It is something we will continue to seek, at least some exemptions or corrections to that statute. However, it is in effect, and it does provide for potential suit against local government for not enforcing this law. So we have created the prohibition as required by statute. The ordinance prohibits unauthorized public camping or sleeping as defined in the statute and in our ordinance on any public property. It provides penalties, including fines or imprisonment or both, pursuant to Section 125.69 Florida statutes. So this gives us the ability to enforce where needed. And I stand ready to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor or against tab U? If so, please come to the podium. Time limit is 3 minutes. Do you have any board questions for Ms. May? I have one. Could you go back a tab?
Yes.
And I apologize, usually I read these things pretty thoroughly, but it just caught my eye here. Prohibits counties and cities from authorizing or otherwise allowing persons from regularly camping or sleeping on public property. What is the definition of regularly in that context?
Unfortunately, not defined in statute.
So really, you could strike that word.
Well, it's in the statute as regularly, so I am following the statutory language here. Unfortunately, the legislature didn't define for us what that meant. Obviously, it does mean more than one night in a given place.
I just want to know, yeah.
So I would think it would give us the ability to do a move along, but if you see continuous actors,
Okay.
you would need to act upon it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
As we know from history, legally, words matter.
They do. They do.
All right. If there are no other questions of the board, I'm going to close the public hearing for tab U is now closed. Board discussion or action by motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Gray.
I'd like to make a motion regarding tab U, consideration of ordinance amending chapter 19 and a quarter offenses, Article 1 in general, specifically adding section 19 and a quarter -2, unauthorized public camping prohibited. And based on the review and the applicable testimony and evidence provided, my motion is to approve the ordinance.
I'll second that.
A motion from Commissioner Gray, seconded by Commissioner Farmer to approve tab U. Any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That will bring us into informational items. Please state your name and address for the record.
Jackie Osborne, Post Office Box 16796, Fernandina Beach, 32035. Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to speak to y'all this evening. I'm going to give you some numbers. There are currently 41 cats in the cattery, that's what they call it, and there are 41 that are also out in foster care. The dogs, there's 63 of them in the kennel and 77 in foster care. Last weekend, there was a adoption event at Petco, at which point in time they had 10 cats that were adopted and 20 dogs, which is awesome. So they're, trying to get those numbers down. Some of the dogs had been here for quite a while, and they were in fact adopted. One was Madonna, and the other one was Johnny Cash. So Johnny and Madonna are gone from the animal shelter. They take very good care of them, but it was time for them to move on and have a forever home. Right now, the NCAS desperately needs foster people. Beginning a week from today, they're going to be redoing the floors in the kennel. At that point in time, all of the animals will come out of that kennel that's adjacent, a part of the building, and be put in the building that's behind there. And it's going to be a little bit crowded. I won't be, I'm telling you the truth. So we have to have as many people as possible to please take some foster dogs. And then if you like them, you can certainly keep them. This is a 2 to 3 week project, so it's not going to be overnight. It's going to be very intensive. Not only are they doing the walls, but the floors, but they're also going up in the walls. And this will help with the cleanliness of the thing and taking care of it. And I think that's it. But before I sit down, because I still have 1 minute and 8 seconds, Mr. Chairman, you know me, I'm always ready to talk to y'all. Thank you so much for all the attention you paid to the animal shelter this year. It's really, really appreciated. And they're working so very hard to take care of them and to make sure that none are mistreated. There are way too many times animals are not taken care of and not done well. And y'all are helping to make those issues smaller and smaller every day. Again, thank you very much to Nassau County and all of y'all have done for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Osborne. Mr. Irving Gilliard. Please state your name and address for the record.
Irving Gilliard, 5406 Leonard Street, Fernandina Beach, Florida. I'm up to again thank the Board of County Commissioners for your support of the water and sewer project at American Beach. Commissioner McCullough, Commissioner Gray, Commissioner Farmer, Commissioner Huffman, and Chair Martin. Not only for just agreeing in word, but also in the finances. Without the financial support from the county, that would have been put on the property owners. And for that, we thank you. And I know, I feel like, when people get up and you don't do things they want to, and they get up and complain about it, I feel like when you do things right, then that should be noted as well. And also thanks to the county attorney's office, Ms. May, and I don't ever want to butcher Ms. Abigail's last name, so I always say Ms. Abigail. And our county manager's office, Mr. Pope, and Mr. Ironman, and their boss, Ms. Amy Bill. I just thank all of you for what you have done over these past years to assist us. And I want to thank also these ladies that come out as well and support us. So for that, I thank you, and I thank you for your time.
Mr. Gilliard, don't go away yet. Hold on a second. I've said this before. I'm pretty sure Commissioner Gray is going to echo what I say, but this has been a long, long process, and you've been there the whole time. You've been there the whole time. You've been instrumental in this the whole time with your service on the American Beach Water and Sewer Advisory Board, District Advisory Board. So you should be commended also for the hard work and advice that you've put forth for this project. Commissioner Gray.
You took the word.
I'm sorry. I knew.
Mr. Gilliard, yes, sir. You as a citizen and your volunteer and your service as chairman and and everything you've done over the American Beach Water and Sewer projects and in your community. I mean, it's just outstanding. We appreciate you coming to the meetings, you serving as a volunteer in capacity for Nassau County. I mean, you as well. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, sir.
Well, thank
Because
you.
we
I
need
appreciate
people
that.
like you in this county. And you exemplify as one of those persons that get out and serve your fellow mankind. God bless you and Merry Christmas to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Commissioner Hopman.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. Erwin, thank you for your leadership, because that makes a program work. As a leader, people follow leaders and programs get in behind that. You've just done a fabulous job with that program, and so thank you very much. Great leadership.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I forgot one name, Miss Katie Brock. Got to thank her again.
Yeah.
County manager business,
I have no additional business, sir. Thank you.
county attorney business.
I have no further business.
You better not have
I
any
know, I
further.
did, I packed you, I'm sorry.
Shoot, we asked her to do all that.
All right,
I spread it out.
county commission items, Commissioner McCullough.
I have none, thank you, Your Honor.
She did it
You're mad-
again.
you're-
She did it again.
Thank you, Mr.
You've been
Chairman.
promoted.
I'm not gonna tell him what your wife calls me.
No, don't.
All right, Commissioner Gray.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On Friday, November 22nd, I had the opportunity, and also Chair Martin was there as well. We attended a new business opening here in Nassau County, and we always welcome new business. It was called Lux Picnics by Les. And as always, we love and we like to come out and support our local businesses here in Nassau County as we grow and keep moving forward. And also on November the 26th, on Tuesday, had the pleasure and invited to attend the ARC Nassau. We visited their facility for the Thanksgiving celebration. When I say we, Commissioner Martin was there as well that day. And they had a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner. They gave us a tour of the facility, and we all know it's an old facility there. However, the remodel and the update looks really amazing on the inside. I went there last year. They had new flooring put in. And this year, they've painted and put all new lighting in, and for all the, the citizens they serve there, they have really come a long way. I actually got to sit down and eat lunch with the chairman of the board and all their volunteers, and it's just truly amazing to see everything they've done there, and we appreciate them and thank them for all they do. And thank you very much, Commissioner Martin.
Thank you, Commissioner Gray. Commissioner Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This past Friday, myself and Commissioner Hupman attended the Rainier Grant Breakfast at the Betty Cook Center. I think they donated just shy of $150,000 to our local nonprofits. I'd like to thank them for supporting those groups that put so much back into our community. The Christmas tree lighting at the courthouse that was put on by Nassau County Parks and Rec Department, Jay Robertson, Jason, everyone that was involved at facilities maintenance, was a wonderful event. Don't want to miss out giving some props to the staff that was leading the way for the Vision 2050 tent. There was a lot of people that were in and out of that tent. The videos that Omari put up on the big screen were really informative, very well laid out. It was really a nice event, and to see us progress from what we put on last year, which I consider to be a very successful event, to this year's event, which just really topped it. I mean, he's going to have to work hard next year to top what he did this year. Fireworks were, everyone said they were just, man, so ecstatic about that, you know. I mean, it was really cool. But I'd just like to say it went really well. And thank you guys for everyone that had a hand in it, all the way down to our custodial staff that I see moving around out there. Man, they all did a fantastic job. Just like to say, continue to pray for the things that are going on. There are more worldly events. Police in Altoona, Pennsylvania, arrested a 26-year-old man suspected in the most recent act of violence that occurred in New York, where United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was gunned down in the street. And I'd just like to make sure that our prayers go up to the Thompson's family. A CEO of a company does not make all those decisions by himself. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's just a senseless act of violence. Also, like to go on the record as saying that I saw here recently where Anchor Glass is closing its doors in Jacksonville after 100 years, and that's 140-plus jobs that are going to be lost. Over there, some of those people I know that work there, been there a long time. They give them opportunity to move to other places. Some of them told me they may have to relocate to New York to continue their time with the company. It's a tough time, here at Christmas time. Also saw where Boeing is reducing its workforce by 140 people here in the area. So, if you know that there's some neighbors out there and they need some help, it's that time of year. Go out there and help, man. There's so much going on. We've got Angel Tree. We're working on, I want to say there's about 35 or 40 families left on the Angel Tree. If you're looking for someone to help out another family and you feel blessed to do so, just reach out to me and I'll put you in the right direction. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Farmer. Commissioner Hutman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In this meeting, I'd like to offer my congratulations to Commissioner Gray, Commissioner Martin, and Commissioner Farmer, swearing in at the last meeting for your next 4 years of service to Nassau County. Thanks to you both for your continued leadership to this community. We're lucky to have you. Second, there was a consent item on getting security that we had voted on. And then if you watch the second half in the legislative hearings, you'll see that we're focused on improvement of public spaces, security, safety, and improvement of those public properties, parks, and recreation. It's all tied together. The staff has done a great heavy lift this year, starting with the winter strategic planning meeting, where we outlined those concerns that we received from our constituents, to now, today, codifying that legislatively and providing better service and better safety and better public spaces for our people. So well done to the staff on that. That's my comment for you there. I participated in the lighted Christmas parade Friday evening downtown. It was a ton of fun, but I decided to pass out candy, and I ended up running the parade route as like a 5K event. So you're going to have help. If you're going to do these events, you got to take a few people with you because it was like a 5K while my wife comfortably rode in the heated Jeep. But it was fun. The lighted parade is a fun event. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for
Thank you,
having a great meeting.
Yeah, ditto to everything my colleagues have said. The Christmas tree lighting, as Commissioner Farmer said, it was top-notch. It gets bigger and better every year. Kudos to Jay and his team, the visioning team. I mean, I could go on and on with all, but I'd leave somebody out. So I'm just going to say kudos to all the Nassau County employees that made this a successful event. County manager, you got a great staff. I was out of town and couldn't make it to, we all try to make it to everything we can possibly make it to, but I was out of town on business with the Florida Association of Counties. There are some things I couldn't make it to, and I'm going to be out of town again this weekend for Martin Family Christmas down in Central Florida. So I'm not going to be able to go to, I'm surprised nobody mentioned it, Santa's Breakfast is coming up, I believe Saturday. I don't have all the details. It's out at the fairgrounds, right?
Yeah, it's at the fairgrounds.
It's at the fairgrounds Saturday.
Yearly
9 to 11.
Yeah,
and
9 to
you have to
11.
bring a
Yearly
rat
Christmas
present.
parade, yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Mahalo, you call it bail me out here.
If you want to participate in the gift exchange, they suggest a new wrap Christmas present. You do not have to participate in the gift exchange, but Santa will be there, the Touch-A Truck will be there, and we'll start at 9. And last year we served basically till we ran out. I mean, the last 2 years, I feel like we
Yeah, it
served
was
till we
fun.
ran out. Yes, sir. And then also the Bryceville Library from 2 to 4 is hosting a Touch-A Truck, the tractor ride, Christmas crafts at the Bryceville Library. So 2 events that Jay's working with on the west side of the county this weekend for the public. And I know y'all also have your parade on this side of the county too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, my nickel back.
Commissioner Craig.
Oh, man, I apologize. The Yulee Christmas Parade is gonna be this coming Saturday, and I will be there handing out candy, yes, so, yeah, come on out.
I'll be giving presents to nieces, nephews, grandnieces, grandnephews, and grandkids. Commissioner Farmer, did you have your hand up?
I was just wanting to make sure that they got mentioned.
Okay. Again, I said this at the previous reorg meeting, but congratulations to Commissioner Hupman being elected chairman for the year 2025, and Commissioner Gray for vice chair. I'm going to miss the gavel. I'm not going to tell you that I'm looking forward to turning it over, but I know, you don't want to have a chairman who stays in it over and over and over again. So I think it's a good thing that we do rotate it, and I look forward to supporting the new leadership next year. I think you're going to have a great year, or we're going to have a great year. And we are adjourned.